Yo, what up, fam? On a morning walk, I'm on the A side, the weekday morning walk. You can hear a lot of cars behind me because it's late August. Fall grind season is coming up. So something I was thinking about, I've taken a break about the past 2 weeks because I got my oldest home. Summer camps are over. There's a 2-week pause before school starts again. And she's home. I got some things to do for work, but they're small things. But I want to make sure I get to spend this time with her. So we've done stuff like go to the park, go to some of the local museums, just chill out at home, watch some movies, just hang out, play some games, right? Some good dad-daughter time. So it's also made me think, as I tend to do on these walks, right? A lot of thinking. Y'all like, man, when is brother gonna stop thinking? Never. That's when we die, y'all, okay? We have a brain for a reason. So how many of y'all get in this situation, right? You set some type of goal, some type of like desired results that you want to see, and you do some work and some actions toward that thing. So you keep getting closer and closer towards it. However, after you start having some success and you have changed your habits to align your habits with achieving this desired result or this goal, right? Whether they're daily or weekly habits or things you do multiple times a week, you started doing this, you've gotten some momentum, you're getting some dopamine from it, you're feeling good. And then what happens? Then you start raising the stakes. You start making the goal further away. You start adding in other objectives and other things you can do. And you think about how it can be bigger and better and faster and how it can be stronger. And the next thing you know, that thing that you were doing, you're not doing it as much as you were. It's starting to become stressful. You keep thinking about how it has to be the best version. It can't just be throwing it in, right? Or mailing it in, I should say, right? Well, I do that. A lot of us do that, regardless of race, gender, neurodivergence, ability, whatever. We all do that to varying degrees, right? So let me give you an example. I started doing these walks and these talks, these walk with me's on my YouTube channel here, right? Back in early May of this year, of 2023. I started doing these because before the pandemic hit, I had a lot of things in place that I was about to really get moving and get out there. So I was really trucking along with my PhD. I had 2 research projects I was almost done designing. I had a podcast. I had put the first episode out. I had interviewed some other people for 2 more episodes. And I had some recordings for that, and I was ready to put those together. They were edited podcasts, so it wasn't just a conversation. We had like some processing and some scripted dialogue there, right? I had some other things with my practice mapped out that I wanted to do, and some ideas for these projects I was already working on, how I was going to expand them. Pandemic hit, and all the problems with that. Summer 2020, as I call summer of white guilt, where all of a sudden white folks realized that racism is real, and you had a bunch of people committing to diversity and affirmative action and DEI related objectives and measures, some of them more performative, some of them serious, right? My wife became pregnant with our second kid, so there's all this stuff going on. So it forced me to like shut down, reevaluate, close circles, protect the family, protect my own mental health, right? And it's been a struggle in multiple ways since then. So anyway, things have changed. So I started the YouTube channel as a way to get back on track. One of the things that bother me or separate me from my goals and objectives and desired results is perfectionism. Ooh, perfectionism lives so tough within me. Perfectionism and people pleasing. It's dangerous. I was about to say odd. It's not odd. It's actually pretty normal. It's a dangerous combination, right? So I think a lot of black folks have that because black folks in this country were capital, and our whole existence was about people pleasing. So those conditioned dynamics still exist. They're just tend to be more at the subconscious level than the overt level these days. And so that's a dynamic. But then in addition to the people pleasing, that perfectionism, right? Like, yeah, well, you know, I'm black, I'm gonna be judged differently. Man, this has to be really good. Man, I gotta show people how smart I am. Man, I really gotta make sure this is making money. Man, I'm caught in limbo, I don't wanna be there. Man, this has to be really good. All that was happening. So to help combat that, I was gonna go on these walks and just share thoughts, unedited, unscripted, right? I just start talking, throw it up here. I was trying to keep it like 5 minutes or less, but as you can see, the majority of the videos is above 5 minutes. So I did that, right? And as a byproduct, I started losing weight, which was great. That wasn't the goal of it, but I started losing weight. My walks started getting longer and longer and faster because I was losing more weight. I was even doing walks twice a day sometimes, right? So what happened was multiple things. One, a month has gone by. It's June now, mid-June maybe. And I'm over here thinking, okay, I don't even want to get up and walk because I don't know if I have time for a 4-mile walk, and 4-mile walks are the minimum. Why did I say that to myself? At first I was doing 2-mile walks, 3-mile walks, 4-mile walks, occasionally a 5, 6, 7, 8, right? But now all of a sudden, I moved my own goalposts and said, no, that's not winning anymore. That's not good enough. It needs to be a minimum of 4, which means I need a certain amount of time in the morning. And I have to drop kids off in the morning, which also means I really need a certain amount of sleep as well the night before so that I can wake up and go for the walk. And so that I have energy to do all the things I need to do after I go for that walk. Right? So I'm sabotaging myself. Then start telling myself, well, maybe I should edit these videos. Maybe I should spend some more time thinking about what I'm talking about, right? So I start putting all of these obstacles, right, in front of myself from achieving those desired results and goals and objectives that I wanted to hit. So I have to be honest. I do that. But the things that we do in a microcosm are reflective of the things we do in a macrocosm, right? So I'm looking at where else do I do this action, right? When I do this action, what's typically going on in my life? What are the things, the signs I can notice to tell me I'm doing this so that I can intervene and change the course of direction before I start getting too deep down that path? So what we walk through here is an example of something a lot of us do, putting obstacles in front of us, blocking ourselves. So we're not going to do self-blocking, right? But the other thing is identifying it, being brutally honest about it, and then understanding the components and the dynamics of it, right? That's the important part. It's not just getting to the point where you see that it's happening. It's getting to the point where you understand how it happens, when it happens, why, some reasons why, and things that you can do to lessen it. Because you're never going to get rid of it fully. You might get rid of it for a while, but it's part of you. It's part of your natural default mechanism of coping with the world, whether it's like conditioned over time or it's just a natural part. All right. I think that was important, y'all, because we have to be more compassionate to ourselves. We have to be more encouraging to ourselves, because if we're not, who will be? And hopefully you have some people in your life who will be, but we can't depend on everyone else to take from their emotional piggy banks, to take from their energy reserves, and to always be ready to pour into us. We also need to be ready to pour into us. All right, keep walking.